What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Kings Court with me, Vincent Miracle, here for Fansided.com, GoldenGateSports.com, HoundSports.com, and of course, SacKingsNation.com. So be sure to go all four of those websites for all your daily Kings news. And joining me on this show today is special guest, college sports writer Adam Burmeister. Adam, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Pretty well. Did I pronounce the last name right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, good. All right, that's what I was worried about that for sure. But yeah, guys. So Adam covers a lot of college sports for HoundSports.com, the new website that I just started on. I know you guys have gone and checked it out, seen some of the stuff I've written for them, and I really do appreciate all the support. But the main thing that he covers is Michigan. You know, Michigan basketball, Michigan football, and just so happens that the Kings rookie this year happened to come out of Michigan. So, Adam, I want to just jump right into these topics here, these questions that I have listed out for you, and give me your thoughts on Nik Stauskas, watching him at Michigan, progressing through his, I believe he was there for 2 years, right? So progressing each year, and what you saw from him.
Man, the thing that you should be excited about as a Kings fan is the progression. You know, in college, when he was a freshman especially, people just kept saying he's just a shooter. And he didn't really want that. He didn't like that. But his freshman year, he had Trey Burke with him. He had Tim Hardaway Jr. with him. So he wasn't really the focal point. So he wasn't just a shooter, but he was his main role was shooting. But so I looked up some stats in preparation for this. All right, his freshman year, he took 100 fewer shots than his sophomore year. Right, so like going into his sophomore year, he was more the main guy, the main dog there. Took 100 more shots. His field goal percentage went up 1%, so like pretty consistent. It's not like a big jump. Very consistent shooting the ball. 3-pointers, he shot 25 more, and his 3-point percentage also went up a little bit. But it's like, you know, he was supposed to shoot more, and he did. And he did so successfully. But then also, they lost Trey Burke going into his sophomore year. They had a freshman, Derek Walton, who, like, he grew as the year went on, but wasn't the playmaker that Trey Burke was. So they found out Stauskas is very good at handling the ball. His freshman year, he had 52 assists. That's 1.3 a game. Sophomore year, he had 118. So he bumped it up from 1.3 to 3.3 a game. So that was pretty awesome for Michigan. And then the turnovers, like he was handling the ball a whole lot. He wouldn't bring the ball up the court, but he would run the offense a lot of times. Freshman year, he had 1.1 turnovers a game. Handling the ball that much more, it only went up to 1.9 turnovers a game his sophomore year. The one thing I would say that he still really needs to work on is defense. He didn't really play much defense. John Beilein's offense in Michigan, or John Beilein's teams in Michigan don't really, I don't want to say they don't care about Michigan or about defense, but they just score so much. Like they're pretty much like, well, if teams can outgun us, then they can outgun us.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I actually have a really big question since you brought up defense, and you brought up how many shots he's taken, the 25 threes, you know, staying low on turnovers. You know, a lot of this is starting to come into connection with the player the Kings recently just got rid of and drafted with the number 10 pick not too long ago, and that's Jimmer Fredette from BYU. Now,
yeah.
you know, people say, could he be the next Jimmer? And as of right now, Jimmer has not solidified himself in this league at all. He's a shooter, and that's it. You know, and you know the biggest difference is that Stauskas can handle the ball, and we've seen that through summer league and stuff like that. But what do you say to the people that he could possibly just be the next Jimmer? Like, do you see that happening, or do you think because of the stuff that he's shown through his 2 years shows that he's a completely different player than what Jimmer Fredette was?
He's 100% different. Like he can shoot the ball, but yeah, I'm not. Do you know how tall Jimmer Fredette is?
6'1".
6'1". So like Stauskas is 6'6". He's 205 pounds or so, and he plays like he's 6'6" and not 6'1". So he doesn't just try to get an open shot. He can create a shot. You know, one thing, I play NBA 2K. And one video I saw was really funny. Like it was the top rookies explaining what they thought their first rating would be.
I saw this video. Yes, go ahead, continue.
Yeah.
I saw this.
Like it just shows like Stauskas is aware of sort of, we could call it like being weary of becoming like Jimmer in the NBA. Like Jimmer in college was lights out, but Stauskas, they said, what do you think your overall rating would be? And he's like, I don't know. And then he says, well, you know what? No, if I'm wide open, I won't miss, but I'm not going to be able to dribble. I'm not going to be able to pass. I'm not going to be able to do anything. And it's like he's very aware of perception of him, but he also works harder than anybody to not be like that, basically. Like the big storyline for him all season long last year in Michigan was how he stayed in Ann Arbor over the off season and added, I think it was 10 or 15 pounds of muscle. Like he just got jacked because he didn't want to just be a shooter. He wanted to be able to drive. He wanted to be able to take contact.
Yeah,
and he really did.
Yeah, I saw the pictures too. Yeah.
Yeah, like he went from a scrawny dude to a little bit more of a ripped guy. But during the season, he started struggling. They'd put their point guards on him. The different teams would put shorter, quicker guards on him, and he struggled for a couple games. And for me, I was like, well, maybe this will make Stauskas come back for another year. Then a couple games went by. They had a week off or something. Stauskas came back. They put a small guy on him, and he dominated. And he just talked about how in that week he worked on doing what he needed to do. He kept the ball lower. He used his strength, and he used his height more. And then guarding him with a short guy didn't work anymore. So if he sees a weakness, he tries his best to eliminate that weakness as soon as possible.
Yeah, people keep talking about Stauskas' work ethic. You see it in his YouTube videos. He posts exactly what he does every single time, whether it's shooting, whether it's dribbling, whether it's, working on his speed, agility. He shows you step by step what he does in YouTube videos, which is why I really like watching his YouTube videos. It just gives you a little bit of an inside look. But, what's one thing that you think that maybe people that you've seen from watching him that maybe some people, like Kings fans that don't really know too much about him, they only watch highlights that, they might not expect to see? Like something that that he'll bring to the game that they won't expect just yet.
Yeah. Well, he's a good shooter. Everybody in the country knows he's an awesome shooter. There's that, the well-publicized near three-point contest with Steph Curry. But I loved it each game. Just about each game, he'd get the ball on the wing. People would close out super hard to prevent him from shooting a three. And he like some shooters don't know what to do in this situation. Stauskas, I think he kind of waits for it. Like he loves being able to, maybe he doesn't even have to do a head fake, but he drives and he throws it down. It's just awesome. Like he loves proving, like I said, that he's not just a shooter. So when he gets a chance, he'll dunk and he'll pull hard on the rim. Like he has fun with it. So I just love it when that happens.
Do you think that his defensive problems will actually be a major concern for him going into the NBA, or do you think it's something that, because of how good his work ethic is and how much he puts in time into his craft and what he does, that he will actually get better? And Coach Malone has been named as a defensive guru in some sorts, in some words, around the NBA. So do you think he actually has the potential to be a defensive player? Maybe some say like Klay Thompson did when he first came out?
Yeah, I definitely think that's possible. And interestingly, Stauskas, when asked who he could compare to in the NBA, mentioned Klay Thompson. But I think the biggest reason Stauskas hasn't put as much effort in on defense is because he played for John Beilein, who doesn't emphasize defense. He emphasizes offense like 99.9% of the time, I think. So I think once that he has a coach that pushes him on defense, he'll push himself on defense also, and he'll get a lot better. I think if he sees any weakness in his game, and maybe defense just wasn't pointed out to him as a weakness, if he sees a weakness, he'll try to get rid of that as soon as possible.
All right, before we move on to the more Kings news here, and we will get into more Kings news, Adam, I got to ask you this about Stauskas, because the Kings drafted Stauskas, but they kept also Ben McLemore, who was the Kings, I believe, fifth pick last year. And so my question to you is yes, Ben McLemore had a roller coaster of a season last year, but he has that potential that everyone still sees. He's very athletic. He can jump. He can cut around. He still has he has been arguably just as good of a jump shot as Nik Stauskas when his feet are set. That still is debatable. We haven't actually seen them shoot side by side before. But do you think that there's a chance that Stauskas could beat out Ben McLemore, or do you think they could complement each other and play on the court at the same time? Maybe Stauskas playing the point guard position.
Well, yeah, that could be. I do think Stauskas might struggle against some of the elite defensive point guards. I just think of Russell Westbrook and his active hands. I think Stauskas might have trouble there. But I was putting together. I was going to ask you who you thought the starting five was going to be, and I was going through. I got stuck on a couple people, but I can ask you about those later. But one of them was Stauskas or McLemore, so I looked them up. Both stats. McLemore struggled more so than I thought last year, especially he only shot 32% threes.
Yeah.
But then the other thing I noticed was, since maybe taking care of the ball a little more, McLemore, even in college, he had 2 assists a game, but also 2 turnovers a game. Stauskas finished with 3.3 assists and 1.9 turnovers. So, I don't know. It's interesting. McLemore averaged almost 16 a game in college, then in the NBA, 8.8 last year. So it's easy for me, especially as a Michigan guy, to assume Stauskas would be not slumping like that to start his career. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know. That's one that I do sort of, as a fan of Stauskas, I hope that he can beat him out. And then trying to look at it realistically, not that him beating him out wouldn't be realistic. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see. I don't think Stauskas could probably guard a lot of small forwards in the NBA. So I don't know if McLemore could do that, for them to be both on the same court, maybe Carlson and Sessions, and then one of them, or both of them on the court at the same time. I don't know. I think that's where the defensive issues might come into play for limiting him. If he can, even if he can guard some of the faster point guards, you know what I mean?
Yeah. See, for me, I keep getting torn, and I've said it so many times on the show, it just depends on what day you ask me, and I still could see Stauskas beating out Ben McLemore only because Ben McLemore, he had a terrible rookie year. It was too much of a roller coaster. I'll keep bringing it up. He did have a great final 2 months of the season. He was putting up double-digit points a game. He was shooting a great percentage. He was taking what the defense gives him, and he was actually finishing layups, which was nice to finally see. But at the same time, if you look at it now, if you're looking at Nik Stauskas, you see a guy who can handle the basketball, who's great in pick-and-roll situations, who can shoot, and, And like you said, Adam, he is a underestimated athletic player. He can dunk the basketball. I've seen him dunk the basketball. I've seen him play for Michigan, although it was only on my TV. I still have the college, game channels. I have all that stuff. So home court,
right,
that stuff. So I watched him play, and I still think McLemore gets it. But if he starts, doing the same thing he was doing, even during summer league, if McLemore was doing what he was doing, where he comes out very cold, too aggressive. I can see Stauskas coming in, playing his role correctly, and earning that starting job, and McLemore be coming off the bench. But it's a complete coin flip right now. I want to see how training camp goes and preseason, because it's going to be a battle until game 1. And I think throughout the entire season to see who gets that starting job.
Right. I think either way, I don't think, the way I see it, I don't think they'll lose much either way, assuming McLemore can get his field goal percentage up a little bit from 2 and from 3. But I think that could be a good, if they're not on the court at the same time, almost a 1-2 punch. They won't lose much when he comes off the court, either one.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So if McLemore starts, Stauskas comes on, their defender's they're also gonna have to sub at some point, and that could really help long term, longer into games, longer into the season for the Kings.
Definitely. I completely agree. I think the two, they can both be complete scoring threats if they play their roles correctly. And although their offenses are the same, They both can shoot. One can cut and one can handle the basketball. It all just depends on how they mesh together when they're on the floor, whether it be with their own teammates or with each other. So I'm excited to see what happens. Training camp is going to be excited to see. I believe it's 2 days away. Media day, I believe, is actually tomorrow. And so you guys keep out a lookout for videos and things like that, and we'll be getting into all those Kings news and all the rumors going around training camp. And before we get into all the Kings news, guys, I want to give out a shout out to our sponsors. If you're looking for quality clothes at a quality price, be sure to go to the Quality Shop located in downtown Roseville. Mention my name and they might even actually give you a discount. So go ahead and go in there and go for that. So Adam, the Kings just recently signed Ramon Sessions. He played with the Milwaukee Bucks for the last 25 games of the season. He averaged 15 points, 5 assists a game. Was this a good signing for the Sacramento Kings, knowing that they already have Darren Collison and Ray McCallum, who the word around is that they have high hopes for him? So, was this a good signing?
McCallum's a Detroit guy, too, so I kind of have to pull for him. I'm not a Detroit fan, but he's like the state of Michigan guy, so I kind of have to pull for him, too. But I don't know. I think Sessions is more established right now than McCallum, than Collison. I'm sort of more of a Collison fan. This also made me look up the stats, and it was kind of funny. They're essentially the identical same player over their career. There's 0.2 difference in their points per game and assists per game, 0.3 difference in their turnovers per game, 0.3 difference in steals per game. They're within a few field goal percentage and then within 5% of three-point, with Collison having a little bit better from beyond the arc. But it's funny how similar statistically they've been over their career. I think Collison is more explosive of an athlete. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. I haven't seen either of them play a whole bunch. But just what I have seen, I think Sessions is more point guard, I guess. And Collison is more similar to like a Russell Westbrook, who can try to explode and score.
He's not big of an explosive player, but I think the word that I use for Darren Collison is gritty. And because he's a very defensive player. With Ramon Sessions, though, this signing, I think it was a steal of a signing. And I wrote about it. It's on SacKingsNation.com. You guys can go check that out. But I think that the signing of Ramon Sessions was a steal. And a lot of people are getting on me because I said that, because they're saying, oh, he's taking away minutes from Ray McCallum. They have high hopes for Ray McCallum. But, Ray McCallum went from D-League to here, and yeah, he had a great final 2 months of the season, but it was already in a season where the Kings had 28 wins. He wasn't making the team better. The Kings didn't win more games with him in the lineup. So you let him continue to progress, continue to get better, learn behind a defensive player in Darren Collison, a scoring-type point guard in Ramon Sessions, who has a very quick first step, can pass the basketball. I like Ramon Sessions. I think he gives that veteran. He's been in the league for 7 years now. I think they give veteran leadership. I think that's exactly what the Kings needed, and it helps replace Isaiah Thomas, and that's what they're looking for. They have now Darren Collison, who can score, Ramon Sessions, who can score, and Darren Collison, who can play defense. And I think that they're trying to find a way to fill a void for losing Isaiah Thomas, and bringing in Ramon Sessions and Darren Collison to help out with Ray McCallum, I think is just a very smart move. And that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be good for McCallum, like you said, to have two veteran guys there. Collison, I think, has been in the years 5 years.
Yes.
And like you said, Sessions has been in there for 7. So Sessions is like, he's 28 years old. He's not old yet. He's getting older. He has experience. And having both of them on the team, on the roster, will help push McCallum. And, as long as they're good teammates, it'll help him grow also.
Yeah.
If he goes in and he starts bombing, it won't hurt the team. They have 3-point guards that can all handle the ball. So, yeah, I think it's definitely a smart signing.
Definitely, and I think it also adds depth to where, let's say, if Collison and Ramon Sessions are the 1-2 punch at the guard position, you have a formidable backup, to come in and be that replacement for Ramon Sessions or Darren Collison, whether that be off the bench or as a starter, because we've seen him do both. We've seen McCallum do both. I really like Ray McCallum. I just don't think he's ready to take over a team like some who talk to me and say, Vince, you're wrong. I'm not wrong. He struggled through Summer League as well. If you minus away the championship game and the one game where he had 12 assists, throughout that entire Las Vegas Summer League, he did not play very well, guys. I mean, let's be honest. But and the cool thing with Ramon Sessions that I like to add in is that I think what's really good about having Ramon Sessions on the team to mentor Ray McCallum is Ramon Sessions was also a second-round pick for Milwaukee. So I thought that was a cool little tie. That's something he can teach him how to become a 15 points a night with 5 assists type of player, even as a second-round pick. I mean, if you have the talent, you let it show. And I think Ramon Sessions has done that through his 7-year career.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So the next piece of Kings news that I have here is the signing of Ryan Hollins and Omri Casspi finally became official. Adam, I kind of want to get your thoughts on Ryan Hollins. I mean, he's a center that was in Boston. He was in L.A. I mean, do you think this is just a pity signing for Sacramento? I should misworded. Not a pity signing, but just a signing to see what's there? Or was this a legitimate piece to bring in to possibly be a backup to DeMarcus Cousins?
Right. Yeah, looking at the I was going through who I thought would be the starters, and there were a few spots. One was Stauskas / McLemore. One was Collison / Sessions. They have good depth there. I like Rudy Gay. I like Derek Williams. But, and then obviously Cousins is just good.
Yeah.
But I think where they have depth in their guard play, they don't really have a center. So I do think it's so much a pity signing as much as we need to try to find some more depth there too. So I think it's good. The Kings aren't going out and signing, any of the super old guys that the Heat would try to probably sign. But they're trying to get guys that still might have some in the tank that they're trying to win, and I think that's really good. Especially in talking with people, a lot of people, at least in Michigan for some reason, seem to think Cousins will leave as soon as he can Sacramento, partly because they haven't won lately. But if they start winning, if they start building the depth like it looks like they're trying to do, at least with the guards so far, if they start winning, I don't see why he wouldn't stay.
He already signed a 4-year extension for a max deal. I think the keys of the franchise. I mean, the keys in the franchise is actually in Sacramento. So I don't see him going anywhere. He's very dedicated. He loves Sacramento. He's come out and said that countless times. I think Michigan people are right. He wants to win, and I think the next step for them to win, and this is completely tangent off of Ryan Hollins, but is to keep Rudy Gay, and that's who Michigan fans should be saying, or Michigan people out there should be saying is Rudy Gay gonna leave? Because that I still don't know. I think the Kings could still possibly trade him, and that article is on Hound Sports, SacKingsNation fan side. You guys can all check that out. Is where I've had people come to me and told me that there's percentages, I can't remember the exact percent, it was 60-40% chance that he stays right now, but if the Kings are on pace for another 28 win, I can't say his name, but the writer told me it drops down to possibly it was 60-40 for him to go if the Kings decided to start winning 28 games, but it's 80-20 right now. So that's how much of a coin flip it is. I mean, Rudy Gay's at the point where he wants to win. He's 28 years old. He's starting to get the peak of his career. This is the last time he's actually going to get paid big money. DeMarcus Cousins is 24 years old. He got a max deal. He's ready to win games, but he's here for the long haul, I believe. But I'm still confused on Rudy Gay. I don't know which direction he wants to go. I think it all just depends on the wins. And with this lineup that they're putting together, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with Sacramento.
Yeah.
All right, Adam.
Sorry, I got you right off topic there.
It's all right. Well, I like the Ryan Hollins. I think you said it hit around the head, though. You're right. I mean, it's a signing to see what he can do. I don't think it's a signing that makes him a role player right away. But I mean, Jason Thompson's there, Carl Landry's there, Reggie Evans is there, but Ryan Hollins brings shot blocking ability. So does Eric Moreland. Yeah. But there's so many power forwards on this team. You needed to add a center, and I think that's exactly what they did with Ryan Hollins. And I'm excited to see what they do with him, but it's not a pity signing. I said that completely wrong, but it's it's a signing just to add a piece. I think they're just kind of grabbing pieces to try and see what they have. I mean, you want to have a team with talent, and that's exactly what they're putting together. Although it's not, I mean, I don't look at Ryan Hollins and say that's a guy you need, but at the same time, I'm not saying that's a guy we shouldn't go after. I like Ryan Hollins, but I mean, he hasn't proved himself in any situation in any team that he's been on. But
yeah, I do think it's good though. It's not a desperation. We need a center to put up big minutes. You know, he can give Cousins a breather. And they also got the gigantic Simbular, 7'5", 360 pounds.
He's a mountain man.
The largest man to ever live. Yeah, I mean they have Ryan Hollins, who has some experience, and they have Simbular to scare people. But both of them can, give Cousins a breather when he needs to get a breather. Hopefully Cousins stays healthy. And they don't need one of them to put up big minutes, but I mean they shouldn't. You know what I mean? So hopefully Simbular can develop a little bit, maybe get a little leaner. But yeah, I mean,
a lot leaner.
Hollins, as long as he's not asked to be DeMarcus Cousins, I mean, it shouldn't be a bad fit.
No, like you said, I think it's a decent signing. It's just not one that's really important that people are going, oh, the Kings signed Ryan Hollins. It's more like, oh, that's a nice little pickup. It's Ryan Hollins. I completely misspoke and said pity. So, Ryan Hollins, if you ever watched this show before, I did not mean to say the word pity at all. Come on the show. I swear I did not mean to say that.
I'd be more worried if you called Simbular a pity signing.
I'd be terrified. I feel like I'd be fighting the Mountain Man from Game of Thrones, but that's just me. But
yeah.
But all right, so before I let you go, Adam, NFL season is kicked off. You're a Michigan guy. So what's your favorite football team being out there in Michigan?
In the NFL?
Yep.
I'll tell you what. I was a gigantic Barry Sanders fan growing up, and when he retired, he said that he hated the Lions because they kept saying they would build around him, and they never built around him. He just felt like he was their almost like he was the Lions meal ticket. And when that happened, I was a little kid, and so I said, you know what, I hate the Lions also. So now it kind of sucks watching Stafford and Megatron out there because I'd love to call myself a fan, but I can't. So really, I don't have a favorite team so much. I have different guys around the league that I like a lot. I keep tabs on Denard Robinson, who was a Michigan quarterback. It looks like he finally got some more carries last week for Jacksonville. Hopefully he gets traded out of there so he has a chance to win. Mostly I look for the Michigan guys. Tom Brady. I got to cheer for Tom Brady. Some people think that I like the 49ers just because Jim Harbaugh. Personally, I wish that John Harbaugh had played at Michigan.
You better be careful. I mean, we're in Sacramento. A lot of Niner fans are over here, so whatever you say about any of the Harbaughs, you better be careful. Say anything about Kaepernick, you might get in trouble over here. You might not. They might say, "Don't bring him back."
Yeah. What I keep hearing is that the 49ers management and ownership keep clashing with Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And it's funny, each day I hear a different rumor. One time, one day it's that Jim Harbaugh is just waiting for Michigan to fire Brady Hoke. And then the next day it's that Jim Harbaugh would never leave the NFL. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's all. Let's talk about Michigan football a little bit. How is the Michigan? I literally do not watch a lot of college football. That's honesty. I love college basketball. If I probably watch college football, I'd love it. But I love the NFL, so I never really leave that. But hey, give me a little insight on what's going on with Michigan football right now. What can people find that you're covering on both on houndsports.com where you're covering Michigan football?
Yeah. Well, at this point, I sort of envy you that you haven't watched it because it's been a rough few years, especially this year. Hopes were a little higher. You may not know, Devin Gardner struggled at the start of last year, but through Big Ten play, I believe he was the second most efficient quarterback. He has 14 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions last year in conference play. And so hopes were real high for him this year, and he has struggled immediately. But the last few articles that I've written has pretty much been driven by it's the only thing to write right now. It's who's going to start at quarterback and who will be the coach next year.
And your frustration.
Yeah, I just wrote the second of three. I wrote who will coach next year, and then coaches that should be considered but won't even be mentioned, and coaches that will be mentioned but never even considered. But those are pretty much the questions all around Ann Arbor. I believe that Shane Morris will get the start just from different things that I'm hearing. He's a sophomore. He's got a cannon of an arm, but has struggled with accuracy in his limited time. To be fair to him, in the last game he came in, there was essentially a monsoon, and they were already down by 16 points, so he wasn't really put in a good position. But yeah, right now it's pretty much just talking about who we think will be the coach, who we think will be the athletic director, which may play a part in who the coach is.
So it's basically what's next for Michigan right now.
Seat as well, I guess. And then if Devin Gardner is going to move back to wide receiver, he's going to start at quarterback. It's all a bunch of question marks right now, and none of them are good.
Well, Adam, I loved having you on the show. Where can people find you online? What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is just at Adam Burmeister. It's AdamBurmeister. Super catchy. And I'm also on Hound Sports, covering Michigan, covering the Big Ten, both basketball and football.
All right, guys. All of you guys go check out Adam. Adam, I really do appreciate all you coming on the show, and I can't wait to have you back on to maybe even talk about how Stauskas is doing, even more Kings news and probably what prospects to look for maybe during draft time to see what college players you've been really keeping your eye on. So I can't wait to have you back on again, my friend.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, I'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, again, that was Adam Burmeister. He writes for houndsports.com, covering Michigan basketball, football, all college sports over there in Michigan. Loved having him on the show. I should have talked to him possibly about Ray McCallum, but we didn't have enough time, and we're running out of time for fan questions. So if you have a question that you want to get on the show, you can email your questions to sknarticles@gmail.com, or you can tweet your questions in to @sknarticles. And the one and only, it's two questions. It's from two of you guys. And what the question asked is from both Felix Kings and S. Holiday. So it's a kind of a two-part question. So I'm going to get through these questions really rapid fire here. Okay, so Felix Kings 2001 says, will sports announcer Katie Christensen be fired? And if not, then what kind of punishment do you think she will receive? If you guys don't know, Katie Christensen got pulled over and arrested for having a DUI. She blew a .08. And will she get fired? I mean, I'm not the judge or jury. I mean, I don't judge anyone who drinks. And I mean, I think drinking and driving is terrible. She should have had someone drive. She was right there at the limit. Will she get fired? I mean, I don't think so. I mean, it's not like she's a coach, and it's not like that. She was. She's a big importance to the team, to where it's like, okay, we need to set an example. You're cut off. You're fired. I think she came out. She apologized for what she did. She knew it was wrong. She blew the legal limit. Although she was still arrested, she did blow the legal limit. And I think that what she does is she brings a smile. Like she brings her smile to the TV, and I think the ratings get up a little bit higher just because she's on the TV. So I don't know. People love her on the radio. I hear all the fans talk about how much they love her insight. So does she get fired? I say no. But at the same time, I'm not Vivek Ranadive, so I really have no choice or say in what happens. But if it was my choice, I say no. I like having her on. I mean, it just gives a different tone when she's on the show, especially for home games or on the Kings game after show with Jason Ross and all them. So my answer is no. Thank you for your question. And the next question is from S. Holiday 06. He says, how many players do you think the Kings will sign? How many players do you think the Kings can sign? LOL, and why? Seriously, Vince, I'm starting to worry about the direction we are heading in. It seems like we are giving up on Ben by drafting Nik, and then we sign Sessions. Seems like we're trying to put Ray Mac on the back burner as well. As a season ticket holder for the last 24 years, I am pissed, and I want some kind of answers on why we are making these ridiculous moves. I get the signing about Casspi. He sells jerseys, but damn it, seems like Pete doesn't have a clue on what he is doing. And about Katie, she blew a .08. Okay, that part is irrelevant. I'm not gonna read that part off because it gets into like a whole different type of debate. S Holiday, but S Holiday, your question, you have quite a bit of long question. I couldn't wait to answer this, and I really have to answer it because I literally I'm already over the time limit here. But I want to argue in saying that these moves are dumb. I mean, the bad moves. You don't know that they're bad moves. We haven't seen them play. How do we not know that Ramon Sessions and Darren Collison is going to be a great, tandem in the backcourt? How do we not know that, like me and Adam discussed earlier, that Ray McCallum will build off of what he learns from these two players? We don't know what happens. We don't know what's going to go on. Casspi doesn't sell jerseys. He's not going to come there to, because of what his religion is, because of what nationality he is. He sells jerseys. I don't think. I don't see it that way. When he was here, his jersey wasn't the highest grossing jersey here. He doesn't sell jerseys. He's just he's a role player. Ryan Hollins is a role player. They're bringing him. What did the Kings lack last year? Shooting. What did the Kings lack last year? Defense. Interior defense. Perimeter defense, all types of defense, and three-point shooting. So they added in Ramon Sessions, a shooter, Darren Collison, defense, Ryan Hollins, defense, Eric Moreland, defense, Nik Stauskas, shooting. I don't know if they're giving up on Ben McLemore. It could just be a position battle. It's not a bad thing to have Nik Stauskas, who have been compared to Klay Thompson, who has been compared to Manu Ginobili, a player that can do a little bit of everything, and then having if we can get percentages up, a quality player in Ben McLemore. He just needs to keep developing. These guys are so young, and I don't think they're giving up on Ray McCallum. I think they really like him. I just don't think that he is ready to take over a team. I don't think he's a terrific backup. Now, did he play well? Yes, he did. He played very, very well. But I would take 7-year veteran who averaged 15 points, 5 assists a game over, second-year player going into his second year, and he struggled through summer league. In summer league, where you're supposed to dominate, that's like in Derek Williams. I know summer league isn't the big thing, but Derek Williams also struggled, and that's where a guy who was a number 2 pick should have dominated. He didn't. This Ray McCallum, let's not forget, is a second-round pick. He's not your first-round pick. Okay, he's not your number 10 pick. He's your second-round pick. You're still developing him. You still have time. Okay, so Ramon Sessions, veteran player, nice to have. Darren Collison, veteran player, nice to have. Defense, grit, position battle, number 2 spot. Derek Williams, Omri Casspi behind Rudy Gay, nice. Eric Mullen, shot blocker. Carl Landry, offensive repertoire. Jason Thompson, a fill-in player that can do a little bit of everything but nothing terrific. DeMarcus Cousins, beast. You're filling out the roster. I'm not saying that these moves are great signings. Some of them are, questionable at best, yes. But at the same time, what's been that bad? I just argue that these moves are terrible. As a season ticket holder, I'm excited for this season. I'm excited to see what this Kings team is developing into. They're trying to fill out roles and fill out positions where they were lacking last year, and they've done so. Have they done it in a great way? Did they get a big-name star? No, they didn't. But they got good players, and good players that could possibly mesh together and be something nice. Eric Mullen, I'm excited to see. Him and Ryan Hollins are great defensive players. Reggie Evans being there, a veteran leader, to Eric Mullen to grab rebounds. You have the veteran leaders to guide the young players and build on what they have. Rudy Gay and DeMarcus Cousins are going to be your offensive anchors. Nik Stauskas, Ben McLemore, you're going to be your shooters. Darren Collison's your defense. Ramon Sessions, a little bit more offense off the bench. Ray McCallum, a formidable backup if anyone goes down, or already your backup. So I'm not saying that these moves are great signings. All I'm saying is they cannot be bad signings if we haven't seen how well they can be yet. I just don't think you should give up on your Kings. As a season ticket holder, I would say you should be very, very, very excited for this upcoming season. As much as I am predicting. I'm not going to tell you actually because I am saving that for a later episode. But alright guys, that is our episode for the Kings Court today. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. Did you guys like Adam having on the show? His thoughts were great input on, Nik Stauskas. Are you excited to see what he brings? Anything. The Ramon Sessions signing. Are you like S Holiday, where you don't like it? You don't like what he brings and things like that. I personally think it's a steal of a signing. That's me, but. Alright guys, just leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think of the show. Hit that like button. It lets us know here that you guys are enjoying this episode. Hit that dislike button if you don't like it, but then leave your comments and let us know what we can improve on. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button. It just lets us know that you guys are wanting to build with us. We're getting better and better. Marley Silverbrand will be back, guys. He will be back for the beginning of the season, so you will be seeing all the B-rolls, all that stuff, what made this show so great and such an up-and-coming show. We will be doing that very, very soon. Marley, I'm waiting for you, buddy. We're going to get that back. So, again, guys, subscribe, hit the like button, leave your comments in the comment section below. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at VM Center. Follow the show on Twitter at SKN Articles. Be sure to go to SacKingsNation.com, Fansided.com, GoldenGateSports.com, and HoundSports.com for all of your daily Sacramento Kings news. And until next time, Kings fans,